Make sure, yes, we are live. All right, so this is my information up here on the board. There is my desk number and my email. The email is the easiest way to get a hold of me. Typically with these types of classes, somebody will have a question that they don't feel like asking in front of me. But you can email me there at that, or we could talk about it through my desk phone or go through there. So, briefly about me, 23 and a half years of law enforcement at this point. I've done everything from work at a very small police department for about 9 years. How small is small? It was 3 men, counting me and the chief. So, how do you run a police department with 3 people? Well, it gets very interesting. You learn a wide range of doing all kinds of stuff. That was the illustrious North South Carolina Police Department. Um, it very well could have been. You could have changed it around. You could take some of the characters from there, and I dealt with them regularly. I enjoyed my time there. After about a month out of getting out of the academy, they ended up firing the middle guy. So it was just me and the chief. And how do you run a police department with 2 people? Chief works days and you work nights. So I spent many years working nights, did a lot of traffic, did a lot of stuff on investigations. Here at Beaufort County, I have been a road deputy for many years. Then I was the supervisor for civil and admin and also the airport over here. So I quite familiar with the island, doing stuff like that, dealt with warrants. I'm the team leader for negotiations. Good morning. Team leader for negotiations, been on the negotiation team over 10 years now. Been a radar instructor, spray instructor, got a wide wealth of knowledge behind me. But right now I'm in crime prevention and public affairs, meaning I deal with the media, which is quite dangerous in its own little world, and deal with that and come out and do presentations and talk to y'all. So, what we want to talk about today, there we go. So, why are we here? Why do we have to talk about this? This is where y'all got to interact now, because I like to put y'all on the spot. Why do we have to talk about this? Why do we have to talk about active shooters? Seems like they're happening every day, right? We see the news media where they're talking about these things happening. We actually brought this up beforehand. This is Minnesota, to where they were actually having a service and they came out through the windows during mass and he was shooting from the outside into it with all the kids in there. Yep. Yeah. Get a little closer to home. Willie's, that is on St. Helena. That's Beaufort County. Active shooter incident there. Had that ended last year, October, to where multiple people were shot. That was a club, just to let you know, in case you're unfamiliar with it. St. Helena. Northern end of the county. If you go out towards Hunting Island, it's right there off of MLK. Oh, sorry. Some of them are location dependent, some of them are events, some of that. We'll get into a little more of that, talk about that in a minute. 2023, there was more shootings than there were anything else. Here's one I like to dwell on for a second. This is a small private school, close to home, right? There was this guy called in to the front desk. That's why I'm a big proponent. Me and Bob's talked about it before, about people outside looking. People need to be paying attention. He calls in, talks to the receptionist at this small school. His statements were not making sense. He was making very odd statements. They were worried he was having some type of mental health episode. They never called law enforcement. He made it during the statement. He said, "I'm going to come in tomorrow and register my grandkids for school." They never called. They never let anybody know. They never let anybody know that was not quite making sense what he was saying. He shows up the next day, walks into the front desk. He's very out of it, making very odd statements. They still never called. It's a nice little black and white car, which I apologize. It's hard to see with this, but right there. Black and white cars, state of California, which, by the way, if you're not familiar with California, this is Northern California, very rural area. This is not Southern California when you think of Los Angeles, all that. Northern California in this area is very rural. Anyway, that nice little black and white car is the trooper. He was out working traffic in that area, was less than a couple miles from the school when the incident happened. Guy shows up, he's acting very odd, deranged, seeing They still never called. He proceeded then to walk outside of the office and shoots 2 kids on the playground and then shoots himself on the playground. We got to pay attention. We got to look for those cues. If something's not quite making sense, let somebody know. Trooper was there in a matter of minutes. This also applies to internal situations. Louisville, Kentucky, this one's a little bit older, but an employee of the bank was having problems with the other members of the bank. The only way he could figure out to solve the problem, and he made statements that he was going to hurt people, was to hurt people. He came into the bank, nobody ever called until he went into the bank. He started shooting people in the bank and then proceeded to engage law enforcement when they responded. And you can actually go on there and look it up and see the video from the incident. Closer to home, Georgia. This was also a nice old country club. A guy came in there and started shooting it up. Trying to get it. Well, now it's not wanting to click. If you'll hit the next one, please, sir. There we go. And we can keep going through these as we get into it, where kids and people are shot in different community events. Now, with that being said, where do these things mostly happen at? This is where y'all get to answer me. Churches and schools. There's another one. This is closer to home, okay? This is a church in Texas where they came through. Go ahead and hit it one more time. There we go. So what we need to do as practitioners, now I go to church, and at my church I am not part of security for a purpose, but we need to be paying attention and limit our distractions. And our distractions can be anything and everything, ranging from this nice little device that keeps beeping in my pocket, right? Our world is stuck on these days, and they will let that device distract them from everything going around. So we've got to take and not be distracted by what's going on around us and pay attention. Me and Bob, when we've done this before, and we taught, me and Scott, as we've taught before, I love y'all's church. The view from inside here, outside, you can see things approaching. We call that natural surveillance, meaning somebody sitting in the back of the church can see if somebody's coming up to the side of the church. Your ushers, great view outside. You can see around you as somebody's approaching that you need to be concerned about. And that's a great thing, is not to be distracted by your phone, but keep your eyes open and looking around you as you go through there. Oh. Sorry. There we go. So, just so you know, the sheriff's office. We do train. We train for these events. Now, we've had one up north in the northern end of the county, but we train regularly. In fact, I've got my notice and I've got my annual training for this, even in my positions, coming up next week. And we train regularly for it. And how do we train for it? Most people don't think, but we've got to work with other departments, meaning we come through with the fire department. We actively train with the fire department to come do these type of events, to come in with them. Also, we train with EMS to get them to come in and help do rescue task force and go through there. We train with our SWAT team, and our SWAT trains regularly for these. We also train with our bomb team as they come through. And we go through and we get prepared for these events, Lord helping us that we don't have any, but we train regularly to be prepared to react to these and to stop them before they happen or stop them when they're happening instead of it being worse. So what can y'all do? So we understand that this is not just something that I threw together. This is actually put through Texas State University. They've gone through and they've come up with this whole program, and it's called ALERT. And what it comes down to is it's citizens' response to active shooter, avoid, deny, defend. That's the 3 things that y'all can do. And we'll go through each one of those as we come through this. So y'all understand and so y'all can see this program and this teaching criteria is accepted through the whole state of South Carolina, through all the school districts, and the school districts have to be taught this twice a year. Beginning of school year, middle of school year, we go through as the sheriff's office and we teach that to all of them, this whole program. Yes, ma'am? Some. Some. Mandated by the school districts where they have to have it twice a year. It's up to the private schools where they want to. I teach it. I've come in here with Bob. I've taught it here before. It's y'all standards as a private school, as the entity that governs it, to whether y'all want it taught every 2 years, if you do, or if you twice a year, excuse me, or however y'all want to. Y'all can contact us. I come in and I'll do it. Have no problem doing it. Some of the other schools do it that way. Some of them, they don't. So that's y'all's, where y'all are at. So Homeland Security defines an active shooter as an individual actively engaging in killing or attempting to kill as many people in a confined and populated area. Usually there's no pattern or method to their selection of victims. All right, so I know the slide's small, but here's the gist of what we're looking at, and I'm going to keep it simple for y'all because I'm a stats guy. And I know most people, they're not stats people, they're not math people. I'm one of the weird ones, and I get it. But I like to look at the stats because they make sense in what we're doing. This is the FBI stats. You can go onto the FBI's website, and you can look up active shooters, and this is for the whole U.S. And this is your stats, where they come down through. 2024, we talked about it, and it looks like, the way the media puts it out, that we have active shooters every day, right? It's not so. 2023 was a very high year. I wish, can't make that much bigger, but 2023, there was 48 active shooters. 2024, it was cut in half. There's only 24. All the stats for 24 were half the number of people killed, half the number of people shot, all throughout the U.S. Again, this is not my stats. This is pulled directly from the FBI stats off of their website that you can look up. So we said, we're talking about where's it happen at most? Church, right? No, the actual most place where it actually happens, it's outdoor events. Outdoor events. You're actually more likely to be in an open space or in a commercial building to have an active shooter than you are anywhere else. But now, I'm going to show you all a little something about what else we do. We see more at schools and churches. Why? Because that's what the media wants you to see. The adage for the media is if it bleeds, it leads. That's what touches our heart more. But where it's statistically through the FBI, you're more likely to see an incident like this in outdoor stats and outdoor places or at a commercial building, meaning a Walmart or a bigger commercial building as you're out there dealing with those types of situations. Again, not my stats. That's pulled directly from the FBI. And you can look them up and double check it from here. I like to let everybody know this as part of we're dealing with this, that a woman every 16 hours is shot by their partner in the United States, not Beaufort County, but in the U.S. So we think about this as being a modern thing, okay? These have been going on for years. I hate to tell you that. We can go back all the way to Oklahoma in 1986. Now, I went to college to be a history teacher. Graduated with a history and science major. History is important. We have to understand history to know where we're at and to also understand things that we're not seeing or we don't understand as we go through. The big one a lot of people think, and a big one that affects how everything's changed, has been Columbine. Does anybody in here know what day Columbine happened on? .420. Now, all right, we're all in church, right? But I can say this. What's 420 known for? 420 is dope smoking day, meaning marijuana day. 420 is what we think of and normal people think of. If you go out here and you talk to a younger person and ask them what 420 is, they're probably going to say it's dope day or dope smoking, something to do with that. But they didn't choose it for that day. What other thing happened on 420, if anybody knows in here? I'm going to show you how sick people are. 420 is Hitler's birthday. The two guys that went in there, and I use guys really, really vague, that went into Columbine High School and shot it up, did it on 420, not to celebrate dope, but they went in there to commemorate a murderer, Hitler, a person that killed millions of people, that did the Holocaust, that did all that, is why it was on 420. Now, let's see. Can y'all think back and go waste your time a little bit, but look at other events that's happened on 420. Just had the shooting down in Mexico, 420. You can keep going back and you can actually look and see that these people study these events and they do these events to commemorate things. Why do I bring that up to y'all? Why is that relevant to y'all? And I'm going to tell you exactly why. You need to pay attention to your surroundings. If you see something on social media and you've got somebody that's been upset or wrong and they're talking about 420, or they're talking about things mentioning names that don't quite make sense, there are people that study these events, study other shootings, and want to memorialize themselves through that. They actually study these things, and they have special names because they know if they use the two names as two school shooters from this, that people will pick up on it. But they actually have slang names they use for those two school shooters to commemorate it, to actually go through and make those idols, if you will, more popular. That's just sick. I'm just telling you. There are groups that are studying this and they're going through. So you got to pay attention to your surroundings and look and see if you got a kid talking about 420 and he don't have marijuana leaves around it. He's got guns. We need to pay attention. We need to be paying attention to that. Contact us. So I've got 2 teenage boys, and boys are knuckleheads. Their brain does not fully develop until they're 25, and I understand that. I've been young and dumb. And they're good boys, but they just do dumb things at times. Well, the generation we're talking about, this younger generation, they're not like me. I'm an old soul. But they put everything on social media. Everything goes on the social media, and it goes out there. I was having to have a talk to them about Snapchat, and let y'all know if you didn't know, Snapchat is supposed to be whenever you post something, after it's viewed, it goes off after 24 hours. Okay. I'm going to educate y'all. If it's on the internet, it doesn't go away. We have an whole Intel division to where they can go through, do a search warrant, and they can pull up anything on those pages and go through there and go through it. So if you see something on there, or you hear something, your grandkid says, hey, my friend's saying some weird things about hurting people, call us. We can pull it up. We can research it. We can go through it, and we can start looking at it to see what we can find out about it and start the search warrant process. But the process being quicker. The sooner we know, the quicker we can get into it. Now, I apologize. Every presentation I do, I keep this picture or another picture of this. So I told you I went to college to be a teacher, right? History and science. I actually started out in elementary education. I like little kids, but I need everybody to realize and look at this picture. I can see faces that are very similar to my kids when they were that age. The person that will take their heart, take a gun, pick it up, and go into a school that is elementary school kids to shoot them, can you take your words and convince them not to shoot you? I feel that I'm a very skilled person at talking into crisis situations. I'm a trained negotiator. I got more training than y'all want to hear about. I have talked to people with guns up to people's heads. I have talked to people with guns up to their heads. It's a very dire situation. I feel like I can talk to a whole lot of people. But I know for a fact I cannot talk to somebody and convince them through my words if they've decided to bring a gun into an elementary school and start shooting them. My point being this. Is Bob going to be able to look at somebody and say, hey, I'm a grandfather, don't shoot me? If they decided that. So let's get into the weeds. Y'all saw a couple years ago, a guy came into New Orleans. He drove around a police barricade and then drove down the road running over people, then got out of his truck and started shooting people. Okay, we know this story. Did y'all know he was wearing meta glasses? First question is, what's meta glasses? Meta glasses are a pair of glasses you can wear around everywhere, and you can live record it straight to Facebook. Live stream it straight there. He was recording it. Now, why? Why would he be recording this? People are watching. He wants his name to be known. He wants people that are like him to see it and support him. So with that being said, and I'm picking on Bob just a minute because we got the same name, but if somebody would have stopped during that situation and looked at him and begged for their life, what are they actually doing? They're giving him what he wants. If he is there trying to kill people, and if you're begging for your life, you're feeding his wants. You're giving him what he wants right there. You can't beg for your life. You can't tell him, you cannot give him a reason that won't fulfill what he wants. And there's more people like this, but that's why he's live streaming. Same thing for this. If you tell him I'm a teacher, you tell him that I am whatever you are, when they've come to shoot kids, you can't do that. You can't stop them through those mere words. Let's get closer to home. This was Charleston. Mr. Pinckney actually has connections to Beaufort County. All right, we're in a house of worship, right? I'm a Baptist, so y'all might forgive me. But there you go. But we cannot sit here and think about this, that they were praying for him before he shot them. I commend that. I do. But I also know in the Bible that I read, my Lord and Savior actually came into the house of worship and made a whip and was turning over tables to protect his house. Keep going as we keep looking at different places where this is happening. The first thing I want y'all to know as you're looking and doing this is to call us, okay? To let us know if you see something that's not happening. You can have a deputy that is legit writing down right here. If you wait to call later, he could be miles down the road. He could be tied up on another incident. But call us and let us know beforehand so we can start working on it and we can start trying to do something about it. Even if you think that it might not be something, it's not a pressing emergency, but you want us to be aware of it, and you want to be anonymous, you can do that. Crime Stoppers of Beaufort's right there. You can use the QR code. You can call that number. You can even get a reward. But I ask one thing please. Understanding that my job, we are limited by law. We're limited by case law. We're limited by Supreme Court. We have to do things very specifically, and if you want to report something, the most information you can give us leads us to where we can do something about it. What do I mean? If somebody called 911 right now and said, in the church there's somebody with a gun, is that true? Okay? Now, can law enforcement come in here and search everybody for a gun? Not off that. But if they called and you said you're at 540 William Hilton Parkway, there's a white male wearing a black shirt, green pants, black shoes that has a gun, and he's in the main sanctuary. Does that make sense? Out of all of us here, that limits it to one person, one specific person. We can do that. That leads us to more. The more information, what I want and what I'm trying to get you to understand is a good witness leads it to where we can do more about it. Very vague information, we might not be able to, but very specific information about this leads us to where we can do something about it. Supreme Court's ruled on that, and they've given us the leadway where we can do more about it. But make sure you're a good witness. Yes, ma'am? Mm-hmm. That's not correct. They have to have the permission of the actual worship house to bring a gun into the church. Okay? Yep, and they can say that. They can say that. They can say no guns into the church. I do not know if they're looking at it. I don't know what they're looking at the moment. I would have to go onto their website to see what cases they're reviewing, because they review a lot, but I do not know that one specifically. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We do not. We're Baptist. We're a little weird. Y'all can pray for us. And Scott's correct, and I had to explain this to a group the other day, and they're wanting to talk about this. I cannot take a stand on whether you should be armed, you shouldn't be armed. That's not my place. But my place is this: for law enforcement to enforce an action, it has to meet specific guidelines set up exactly like the law. The law says for us to make it to where you cannot have a gun in a specific place, it has to be a very specific sign, very specific size, very specific lettering, very specific things. The place I was at the other day, they were like, well, what about Spanish speakers? I said, you can post a separate sign, but for us to do it, it has to be those specific things, because if it does not meet that specific law and guideline, we cannot enforce it. So, and it is very specific in that law. You can go onto SLED's website, which I believe is sled.gov, but look up South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, look up concealed carry, and it will outline it there. Or you can go on to southcarolinastatehouse.gov, and that has every law you ever want to look up that is underneath South Carolina, not the federal ones, but you can look up underneath laws, and you can actually look up what new bills are coming out too. And it can look up specifically, type in the search bar concealed carry or concealed weapons, and it will outline every law that brings it up to it and tell you what covers and what doesn't cover.
Do you recommend putting decals by the doors?
That is something that the House of Worship, y'all all have to get together and decide what y'all want.
Do you think it helps? Do you think it's I'm not asking for recommendation, but do you think if they're out there, is that a good thing, or it doesn't really matter?
I think, and this is because we're dealing with a political thing, I think you have to look at both sides of what you're doing, okay? The law is a two-edged sword, okay? And you're going to cut both ways. If you decide that nobody can carry concealed weapons at all in your church, who are the ones that obey that law? And then look at people that are not supposed to carry anyway, are they going to obey that law? Y'all have to decide who you want to stop carrying guns or not stop carrying guns, or that's a deeply divided subject that y'all will have to decide. Thanks.
You want to be welcoming. I know that's the philosophy of this.
Any business that doesn't want you to have a gun in their store will post it outside. Publix, Walmart, wherever. There's a gun with a stripe across it.
I don't know that it's going to stop anybody from. If somebody wants to bring one in, they're going to bring it in.
But what
Go ahead.
happens is the people see it because often it's very obvious that people have a gun. And then the people around them get really anxious, and then they talk to the pastor,
Yeah.
and then the pastor talks to that person, especially if you have a rule that there's no guns carried inside. So there's
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one that y'all are going to have to decide, and I can't be a part of it.
Like I call it, sends off bad vibes. You know, we've talked about having private security out in the parking lot on Sunday mornings, but you know, there's two sides to it, and a lot of people, it doesn't send off good vibes to me. People come in and they go, "Why do you have to have this?" What you're saying, and you could say the same thing about the decals. So, just curious.
It's a concealed weapon anyway. You're not going to see the gun.
No.
You're not going to be walking around with.
Well, just to let you know, South Carolina changed the law a little bit back, and it's constitutional carry. So people can carry exactly like I carry on duty now in the state of South Carolina. So they can carry it in the open now. But y'all have to decide that, how welcoming you want to be, how proactive you want to be. That's something that I'll let y'all discuss and go from there. All right, so to move on. Here's some numbers for y'all, just in case y'all need them. 911, of course, if it's an emergency, but there's a great number that I want y'all to have, and that being this number right here. This is our non-emergency number. It's 843-524-2777. Again, 843-524-2777. That's a number that you can call. It goes straight to our dispatch. All law enforcement out of Beaufort County is reachable by that. It's the same place, same people as 911, but it doesn't tie up our 911 emergency. Now, part of my job, I send out the Nixles and Everbridge. Does everybody know what Everbridge or Nixles is? Everybody? Nope. All right. So, you can go to our website, which is also down at the bottom, and you can get an app on there, and we will send you out alerts about bad collisions if we're looking for people, if anything's going on. I had to send one out Monday or Friday, about a specific cell phone provider to where their service would not let you call 911. And it provided you with that number. So just to let you know. I highly recommend everybody get our Everbridge. We don't track you, but we send you stuff all through our Everbridge app to where it's good information if there's a scam going on. But you can go right onto our website, download the app, and it comes straight to your phone and goes through there. So, and here's the deal. Anybody watch Hill Street Blues? I know it's an old show. Here's the deal. Don't call our office number. You can call it, but don't expect if it's an emergency or you're needing a deputy right now for us to be sitting there at the office and us to respond. If it's after hours, just call this number. You could have a deputy. Our road deputies work out in the patrol car. I did it for many years. Thanksgiving out of a patrol car. Every holiday, I was in the patrol car. You might need us. You call our office. You're going to get transferred around, but you need a deputy here. A deputy could be driving right down the road. Dispatch can call it out on the radio, and they can be here in a second. Whereas if you call our office, you get transferred and moved around. Just call that number right there and let dispatch do it. That's how we work. That's the easiest way for you to get deputy to you quickest. So let's talk about the shooter for a minute. Yes, ma'am? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Do the same people work at that office all the time, or the southern Beaufort County, and then there's sheriffs at the northern Beaufort County?
So the county's divided up northern and southern, and the deputies are assigned there. Now, we've got special, like I'm on both sides of the county. My actual office is in northern Beaufort County, but I'm on Hilton Head today, and I'll be back on Friday. I travel all around the county. You've got other special teams that they work both sides of the county too. So the people in that office are going to be your command staff people or volunteers. That's who's actually in the office. Our road deputies, they meet there, and then they're out on the road working the road. They could be on Hilton Head or they could be on Bluffton, depending on what's going on. So there are deputies that are there, but it's usually 8 to 5 and very specific higher level people that are working out of there. Your road deputy is the ones answering your calls, going out there and doing the actual work. They're in patrol cars, roaming around, moving around all over the place. Make sense? And like I said, there's special teams or special sections that we work both sides. I could be anywhere in the county. So, but that's just me. So, the shooter. People want to know what to look for in a shooter, and you can't look at age. The youngest one I've seen was, I believe, 9 years old by the FBI stats. The oldest, 78. Anywhere in between. Could be white, black, Hispanic. Could be male. Could be female. We've seen it transgender. 3 over the last 2 years I've seen have been transgender shooters to where they were coming in there. So you can't really look at that, but what can you look at? You got to look at that Avenger mindset. We're seeing across the nation that these people feel the only way that they can solve their problem is to go out and avenge themselves. I'm not talking about Marvel Avengers. I'm talking about they have to go out there, and violence is the only way that they can solve this problem is by hurting people, shooting people, or destroying items. A great one to think about destroying items, there's a thing called Killdozer, if you want to waste your time on the internet. A guy in Colorado got mad because the town council were having a dispute, and he decided the only way he could solve his problems was he had a bulldozer. He proceeded to weld metal plates onto it, then put concretes on it, cameras on it, and more metal plates, and then proceeded to bulldoze the town. He bulldozed like 9 buildings, yes. Only way he got stopped was he actually bulldozed into a building that had a basement, and he didn't realize it. Bulldozer got stuck. Yeah, I know. But you can't look at all that, but is the anger and you've got to look at the mindset that comes through there of the person. You can't look at, do they have connections? Minnesota had connections, but it was so far past. Seen other ones to where they were shooters just over, and this has changed, just to let you know. The no connections now up to about 54% across the nation with the actual place that they go. All right. I like this as an answer for my portion. So, what weapons are typically used? What do you think weapons are used in active shooters across the nation? Rifles?
They're telling us AR-15s.
AR-15s? That's what they're telling us. Guess what the truth is? Pistols. Reason being, pistols are easy to get, pistols are easy to conceal, pistols are easy to use. Carry extra mags, you can do a whole lot with that. So, this stat has actually changed. I'm going to update this probably next week. It's actually 4%. Those are improvised explosive devices. Columbine, they had 90, well, actually it was 100. 99 in the school, 1 outside the school that they used. But 4% of them, they're using improvised explosive devices or body armor. Now, we're having an educational thing. Y'all can laugh at me a little bit. This actually happened on the island. If you think somebody has shipped you a bomb, first thing, don't touch it. If you touch it, don't pick it up. Don't go put it in your car. Then, don't drive that same car down 278 with every other person that's underneath the sun with a possible bomb in your car and drive it to the post office. Pick it up again, walk into the post office to the clerk and say, hey, I think you brought me a bomb. Because the post office is very well versed in this. They're going to look at you and go, I'm out, and vacate the building, which is what they did. Because I like to know the other end of the story. Guy did this. He thought it was a bomb. It was not a bomb. But we had to call out our bomb team. We have a whole bomb team that have mobile x-ray devices. They have all these nice little tools to where they can tell if it's a bomb right there without moving it. If you think it's a bomb, possibly a bomb, don't touch it. Call us. We'll come take care of it. No, if you got the only way you will run into problems is if you're doing it basically for yourself. If you legitimately think there's a crime going on, call us. We'd much rather be coming out there to you and find out this is not a problem. It's the people that get charged that you see getting charged for that is they're calling 911 continuously for nothing, or to basically to tie up our services that we're providing to y'all to where when you need us, it's malicious on their part to try to keep us from trying to help you. Does that make sense? Because we have people that intentionally or through some type of mental disorder think it's a good thing to call 911 or to report stuff. They call it swatting, to where they'll call and they'll try to send SWAT to Bob's house and try to do things. There are people like that. We don't charge people unless it's malicious. Here's a good example. We never hear the victories, just to let you know, of people actually being stopped before it happened. Here's a real quick one, because I don't want to waste a lot of y'all's time. But this gentleman got upset at work. He worked at UPS. I worked for UPS. It's a very stressful job. They keep you running all the time. He got upset. He started telling coworkers, I'm going to fix this. I'm coming to work. Don't come to work tomorrow. Things like that, and it made him think that he was going to do something. They called law enforcement. They went out there and found this arsenal of multiple different guns ready to go, plans, and everything that he had. He ended up getting charged. Nobody was shot. Nobody was hurt. You don't hear about this. This was like back page of the newspaper at one point. But he was charged, and nobody got killed. So we keep going. We can see more of these. Where I want y'all to do, understanding a lot of y'all will not have to deal with stressful situations, and meaning like a critical incident of adrenaline dump, decisions have to be made. But your mind goes through 3 different things as you're going through a disaster, okay? This is natural response. First is you have denial. I don't believe that was a gunshot. I don't believe, whatever. Second is you deliberate. You try to go through and you figure out what to do, what can I do. And then lastly is the decisive movement. I've got to do something, this is what I'm doing. Now, how do you make this much quicker? First of all, you hear something, know what it is. Is that a gunshot? Okay, I need to do something. So don't deliberate on what it is. And how do you take the deliberation out of this? Well, I was a field training officer for years at the sheriff's office and at my other job. And what a field training officer is, they take somebody's seasoning. Now, what's seasoning? Salt and pepper? Meaning you got somebody that's done the job. Yeah, there you go. You got my joke. You take somebody that's done the job for many years and you put a rookie, somebody that's not done the job, they're brand new, and you put them in the car with them and you train them how to do the job. On-the-job training, it's the most hands-on, great learning experience. How do you train a rookie to go into a situation where somebody's shooting? If you've got somebody that's, all right, well, let's be real. Somebody starts shooting at that door. Where do y'all want to be? Out any way you can be, right? Got to go. Where do I need to be? Towards the shooting. How do you teach somebody to go against their natural reaction of somebody shooting at me, I've got to run to it. I got to react to it. There's multiple different training factors, multiple different ways we do it. One of the easiest ones, and what I tried to get people to do that y'all can do, is the what-if game. All right, so the what-if game is simple. You're in a different situation, you're in a store, you're something like that. What if I hear gunshots? What if somebody starts shooting back here? What can I do? And what you're doing is you're taking and you're making pre-plans into it. Okay, I hear a gunshot out in the lobby. There's an exit here. Where are my exits? There's an exit here. I can get out that way. I'm in the school, I hear shooting. Where can I go? Where's my car? Where's the exit? Go to the movie theater. Where are the exits? How can I get out of here? If I hear something going on, what can I do in this situation? Restaurants. I know I'm weird. My wife's dealt with it for years. My kids all know it. We go into a restaurant. It is a known fact in my family. I don't want to sit in the middle of a restaurant. I want to sit in the corner. I want to be able to see the doors. I want to know what's going on and what's coming at me. Funny story. Me and my wife, before our kids, we were in Charleston, and we were at a great restaurant, 3 stories high. The girls wanted to go eat there. Great view of Charleston Harbor. We go in there, and we're sitting there, and Bob's looking around. I'm in my corner watching everything. The girls are talking. As we're sitting there, you can laugh at me, I promise. We're sitting there. I noticed the kitchen's in the back, and I'm sitting there watching, and I saw out the top of the kitchen just a light haze of smoke. Duly noted. Okay, do our orders. And as we're sitting there, the girls are still going talking and having a good old time. My wife's trying to set up her friend of this guy over here, this guy she knows, doing their thing. All of a sudden, I hear sirens. Okay, Bob's noticing. Then I notice a second set of sirens coming from the other way. And I said, fire department. Smoke in the back's just a little bit darker. All right, we're on the 3rd floor. So we're sitting there. I ordered my steak. It's coming to me. The girls are sitting there. The food starts coming out. I notice the first fire truck pull up. Okay. And they come up the stairs. Bad notice for me. Firefighters coming up the stairs, not a good idea. So Bob proceeds to take steak to mouth. I'm watching fire department. Fire department comes up. Waiter comes up and says, listen, it's not a big deal. Got a small little grease fire in the back. I need y'all to step down and go down to the next level. Cool. I grab my plate. I'm still. Then I hear the 3rd set of sirens coming around the corner, and I'm like, yep. We get to the next level. The girls are sitting here talking. They're looking at the firefighters. And get to the 2nd floor. Firefighter looks at us and says, no, y'all got to go down to the bar. Wait at the bar. Bob is proceeding steak to mouth. I know. You learn to eat quick in this job. Get down to the actual bar. As we're standing there, the bar looks at us, says, hey, sorry. And at this point, 3 fire trucks are outside. The smoke is coming in real heavy. At this point, the girls have not touched their food. Bob is taking steak and gnawing on the bone. And the barkeeper goes, hey, food's on us, but you got to leave your plates. You got to go. We're having to close. You got to be aware of your surroundings. You got to look. You got to start making your plans beforehand and taking out that deliberation and getting those plans before you get to that type of event. This is basically breaking this down a little bit more. The three reactions that people have. This is psychological, but fight, flight, or freeze. I can show y'all hours worth of videos of people sitting there where these three things happen at shootings, where people will just freeze, fall on the ground, go into the fetal position because they don't know what to do, or they'll just lock up and just stand there, or they'll just start running. I'm a OC instructor for the department, and it is fun for that because I never know how people's going to react because the OC is pepper spray. When you spray somebody that's never been sprayed with something that feels like it's just burning their face, and they start to have their breath tighten up, all these things, they go immediate into this. And I've had rookies go from freezing, not knowing what to do, to wanting to run immediately, because feels like somebody has lit gasoline on your face, and you have problems breathing, things tighten up, your eyes slam shut, and they just start running. So I never know what I'm going to happen until I hit them with that first spray, and then off to the races we are. Now, I'm an old guy. I can still run if I have to. I've had to tackle rookies. I've had to tackle people that's had this happen. But this is the truth, and you got to know yourself, and the only way to prepare yourself is come up with these plans to react to it. So, again, your three things that you can do is avoid, deny, defend. Don't be a victim. Don't give up. So, how can you avoid? Create space. If it's happening here, it's happening out there. Can you get away from this and go further away from it? Don't hesitate. Don't sit there and I don't know what to do. Come up with these plans beforehand and make an action that you can do, that you can create. Run towards an exit. Now understand, if the shooting's inside, where do you want to be? Outside. If the shooting is outside, where do you want to be? Inside. I know that's pretty basic, but people ask me all the time, well, what if? You have to determine with the information that's given to you. The greatest thing about my job and the years of doing it is every situation's different. We can what if it together, but you have to take what you're giving and you have to determine it, split moment of what's going in. And it's hard to decide that till you're in that situation of what's going on. So if there's no exit, run towards a lockable room. You need to figure out as you're going through what rooms are lockable. Where are exits? If you're in some place with a kitchen, per fire code, they should have an exit door out the kitchen. Knowing these things and being aware, can I lock myself in a room? Can I fit multiple people into this room? Where can we hide? Run towards something solid, meaning big oak trees. Meaning if you have to go outside and somebody's shooting at you, the back of a car, where the trunk's at, will not stop bullets. Seen plenty of times where bullets go completely through it. The front of it, if it's got an engine, big chunks of metal, that will stop bullets. Big oak trees. Can you get behind a big oak tree? I've had to do it before. Standing there with people shooting at us, stand behind an oak tree, it'll stop bullets. And knowing where it will stop and how solid it is. So if you can't avoid, can you deny them? Meaning, don't just hide, deny them the ability to get to you. Can you barricade doors? If you go into that lockable room, can you take a desk and put it in front of the door? Can you take a bookcase? Can you put it in front of the door? Turn off the lights. Grab weapons of opportunity. People get stuck on thinking of guns. What's a weapon of opportunity? Can you use things that are around you as a weapon? Can you use your cell phone to strike somebody? Yes. We have weapons of opportunity everywhere around you. If you have to use a hymnal to hit somebody with it, you can. Being aware of that and going from there. Get behind something solid or walls, and don't open the door for anybody. I like to tell people about the Buford High School incident. A few years ago, we had a call come in. I was working the north end of the river. Buford High School is in Buford City Police Department. When these types of situations come in, our dispatch does not just tell that one jurisdiction. They came over the radio and told all county units, Buford, and everybody, we have an active situation, and we're on different channels on the radio. But they came to us and they said, we have a situation, somebody's called in on 911 saying somebody's in the school shooting people. Then they had another one, there are people dead, there's kids dead, somebody's walking. Anyway, long story short, the situation as it came out, we thought there was an active shooter at Buford High. Buford City Police responded. Beaufort County Sheriff's Office responded. We had people from all the agencies coming. We had people from Hilton Head heading over there. We went through there, long story short. It was not an active shooter. It was a prank, a very elaborate one. We had to search the school. The teachers actually thought it was a legit active shooter. We had one that she had taken and barricaded the door. She was ready to defend her kids with a mop handle, and she wouldn't open it for us. Well, know what I have to say? I'm happy. The sheriff's office has a bomb squad. We have tools. We have things. We can make doors. Now, the church might not be happy if we blow a door open or we blow a hole in the wall or we break windows, but we can do all that and we'll come to you. If you don't think it's us, you don't feel safe, don't open the door. We will make a door for it. Lastly, you might have to defend yourself. This is your last option, but it might be the only option. If somebody were to come around this hallway at me and Bob, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. You might have to defend yourself. You might be stuck in that position that you don't want to be in, but this might be the only thing that you can do. You have the right to defend yourself. This is not the Old West. This is not where your dad said, don't kick them wherever you don't want to kick them. You got a right to defend yourself. Somebody's there and they're trying to kill people. Defend yourself and defend others as you can. Grab the weapons of opportunity. Go for the soft areas. Go for the throat. Go for the eyes. Go for the groin. Those places. Go for the knees. You take somebody out, they can't chase you. They can't get you. But hit them in all those places that you can hit them and take out that. I am of the opinion I do not like to celebrate the shooters and celebrate. They want notoriety. They want people to think of their names. They want their names to be remembered. That's why there's whole forums that you can see where they talk about this. But the people that don't get talked about, here's two gentlemen. Two different school shootings, two different times, to where an active shooter came into the school, and these two guys did what nobody wants to think about, and they actually defended and stopped the school shooting from being much worse. You can look them up. But they went through, they lost their lives, but other people didn't lose their lives because of them. Another one that people don't think about, didn't hit the major media much here in the U.S., 4 service members that were off duty, going to enjoy some R&R, got onto an actual train in Paris, France. While they were on the train, they saw somebody go into the bathroom. He came out with a gun. They are unarmed, off-duty military members. They charged them. One of them got shot in the arm, I believe it was. And they stopped a mass shooting on a train in a different country while they were not on duty, right there, just doing what they're supposed to be doing, aware of their surroundings. So we have to think about what you can do, and understanding that most of the attacks are over before law enforcement even gets there. 55%, just to let you know. We could keep going through and talking all this, but I believe we've hit the major points. I want y'all to think about one thing as we're finalizing this. Has anybody ever had to put a tourniquet on somebody? Quick stop. Your fire department will actually come out and do this trainings. I recommend this, okay? Because let's have a really, really hard topic and hard discussion. If somebody gets shot in a major artery, okay, how long do they have before they bleed out? Minutes. 3 minutes is your best, okay? Can you save somebody's life? Can you apply a tourniquet? Can you use something else as a tourniquet? They have, I'm trying to remember, Bob, y'all have Stop the Bleeds over at school, I believe. That's right. They're packets. They're about this big. They're called Jacob's kits. I prefer Jacob kit for the name of it, and I'll tell you why in a second. They have in there everything you need to stop the bleeding till the fire department can get here. I know the fire department's right here for y'all, but this could be anywhere you go, and knowing that you could save somebody's life that is dying in front of you. Now, if there's a shooting in this building, let's be brutal, okay? If there's shooting over here, the shooter has come through here, for argument's sake, and is now over there on the opposite building, and they're shooting over there. When I get on scene, where do you want me? There. Because there's people dying over there. There are people here dying too. They've been shot. But there's more people being killed over there. I got to be there. Okay. 3 minutes, right? That's not very long. Can you, in that time period, apply a tourniquet, apply something to keep them from dying? Yes. There's nothing I am a person and been throughout my whole life. I'd never want to be useless and not know what to do. I got to act, got to do something. I want y'all to have that and know that. Jacob's Kits. Reason it's called Jacob's Kits. Long Creek, South Carolina, not Long Creek, I am sorry, Townsville, South Carolina, which is up Anderson, Oconee County, right there at the borderline. So small school, very rural. I've driven by it numerous times. They had an active shooter, and Jacob was a victim. He was shot there. Jacob died because he bled out because they didn't have tourniquets and nobody could stop the bleeding. As this young elementary school kid died out there for them, so now they call him Jacob's Kits in memory of him. I would just highly recommend y'all get the training and the know-how to where you can save somebody's life, because I would hate for y'all to be feeling not knowing what to do when it's as simple as a tourniquet or a stop, quick clot, and being able to save their life when the tools are here and not doing. Yes, ma'am?
What about, okay, so do we have those bags in our kids? Okay. What if you apply pressure? Isn't that a good start?
It's a good start.
You need a belt or a rope or something to do the tourniquet, and you need somebody to hold it, don't you?
Yeah, you do. I would highly recommend if you take the Stop the Bleed course, the fire department will offer. It's typically been free as far as I know, but they will talk to you about pressure. They will also talk to you, a good class will talk to you about a sucking chest wound, which is something to where if you don't know what it is, somebody can actually suffocate in front of you, and you can help that. Pressure can help that. Packing the wound, they go through all that in the training, and they go through tourniquets, or where you can apply tourniquets.
Is that through CINDA?
I don't know what send us.
CINDA's the one we do our training for CPR and AED.
I don't know. Might be then. Typically, the fire department can tell you who can do the Stop the Bleed kit. I am over our Explorers, which is 14 to 20-year-old that are interested in law enforcement, and I just went through the fire department and got them all taught in Stop the Bleed and CPR and all that. So taught to the fire department, and they can come out here. I'd recommend, especially a church service. I like our church to know it because you've got people that could be on blood thinners. That could be anything, and it might not be an active shooter. They could get cut on something and be bleeding out in front of you and not even know it. It could be a window broken, a little kid gets cut in a major artery, things of that nature. It's a good training. It's a good thing for people to know in the church service to be prepared, not to mention out in public when you're dealing with people. So, all right, there's my information. That's my website again. I mean, the website for the sheriff's office, my desk number, and my email. Does anybody have any other questions for me? It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.